Why is it so important to you?
Oh, for me, it's like a safe place. If I control it, then nothing will go wrong or nothing bad can happen.
Controlling your life is ruining your life. Hot take, I know, but we're all obsessed with control. Why? Why are we so obsessed with control? We are humans, but somehow we feel that like this control is just going to make us feel better, that we are going to get further. It gives us more confidence. Why? Today, we're actually going to go over why control is actually harming you, how it's actually not allowing you to live your best life ever. So we're going to reframe your thoughts around control, go into the art of actually allowing your life to happen. And with me today, I have the self-proclaimed biggest control freak out there. Lacey Mitchell is back.
Hello. And I enjoy that title a little too much, which just tells you that I really am one of the biggest control freaks.
You know, it's a tough thing. I think a lot of people identify with being a control freak. I know I do.
Yes.
So if you are new to tuning in, Lacey Mitchell is a business owner. She is an entrepreneur extraordinaire. Tell us about your business. Give us a little bit of background of what exactly are you such a control freak over?
Oh my gosh, pretty much every facet of my life. But I think that starting a business has definitely spiked the control levels. So I own an edible glitter company that we sell online and we wholesale to boutiques and gift shops and, you know, like little wine stores and stuff like that. And being a business owner, if you thought you might be a control freak, start a business and then you'll just see how much you think you can control and how much you actually don't control. Mm-hmm. And it will really open your eyes to some issues with control for sure.
Right. And there's some signs that we discovered on.
Yes.
You can just say yes if any of these hit. So if you are in denial about being a control freak, let's hit you with the good stuff. So signs you might be a control freak. You are not a good team player.
Okay, so for me, this one, I love working in groups. I played sports. I think that growing up, I think that playing team sports and stuff like that kind of gives you that, like, you kind of adjust to being a team player. So I don't necessarily think this is where I'm terrible. However, when it came to like school projects and things, I would give people an opportunity to like do the work. And the second that they weren't, I was like, look, I will just do the whole thing. You can all get a straight A on this paper or whatever the project was. And so I will say this is probably the one that like I'm the least amount of a control freak on.
So you're a good team player if you're in charge. Which leads me into number 2. You do not delegate tasks.
So yeah, this is where I'm really tough. And this is why I think a lot of people are in control. So like I'm here for the coaching, okay? I'm not here to give the advice. Okay, so just want to throw that out there ahead of time. So what I think is what happens with people, and this is what happens for me, I delegate a task and then it goes all wrong. And
take backsies.
Yes.
Let me just take that back.
Yeah, let me just kidding. I'll do it because it's easier.
Yeah.
So as a person who thrives on efficiency, for me to explain to Joe how to do something is going to take me 3 times as long as it will for me to just do it myself. Mm-hmm. Now, where the problem lies is if I have to continue to work with Joe. So I catch myself not delegating things because I'm like, it's just, by the time I tell you how to do it, I could have it done.
Right.
And so the efficiency part of me gets in the way of delegating tasks.
Right. This mask of efficiency, you know, and I coach a lot of business owners on how to show up as a leader, just even energetically. So I'm going to run through these signs you might be a control freak, and we'll come back to them. So you're not a good team player if you're not carrying the team. You do not delegate tasks. because you believe that you are 100% responsible for your success. And bringing Joe into this,
Guilty.
I know, right?
I'm so guilty.
You spend a lot of time correcting people.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You invest a lot of time in trying to convince other people to change. This is the better way of doing it. Do it this way. You spend a lot of energy trying to prevent bad things from happening. That is me. I'm a fixer in advance. And this is this last one, which I never thought was a sign that you are a control freak, but it's so interesting. You lack compassion for people who make mistakes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, are you a control freak? Let's revisit that.
I think I might have yesed all of those. And wow. Yeah. So, yeah. And some of them are like a strong yes. And some of them are like, yeah, I kind of am like that.
And then some of them are like, you would say no, but everybody else who you work with would say yes.
In denial.
Yeah. So let's break this down. You know, these are
Okay.
clearly behaviors that are not healthy for growth, right? We're going to get into what happens if you stay in this control mindset of I have to do everything myself, right? There's
Right.
no growth there, and we're going to get into that. But let's just talk about, let's back this up. Why is control so important to us? This false sense of control, or even if it's a real sense of control, why is it so important to you?
Oh, for me, it's like a safe place. It's if I control it, then nothing will go wrong, or nothing bad can happen, or I won't get hurt, or just even not even like relationships, like in the car, if I'm in control of what's going on here, then I'm probably not going to get in an accident. Like, it's like this lack of trust from other people, and it's just almost a safe zone that I put myself in, because I have learned so many times over and over and over again, if I trust that person, that could be a waste of money. It could hurt me. It could be a waste of time, which is, when you're a business owner, is not something you have a lot of.
Right. Well, yeah, people don't want to waste their time or their money.
Right, exactly. Or maybe in a relationship, it's, you could get hurt, or I don't know. It's just, it seems like I control things in order to keep myself safe in all of those areas.
That's interesting. Well, and it's funny to think, if I, let's just take driving in your car. If I control, right, what I do with my car, and I have an eye on everybody else, right? I'm doing the work for everybody else. I'm watching where they should be going.
Right.
I'm going to carry this whole team of cars myself, right? That actually does not prevent anything. Right. I mean, you might be, I guess to a degree, you want to be, vigilant and pay attention, but something could totally happen that you have not planned for.
Exactly.
Right. And that's where it's interesting.
False. It's like a false safety net.
This false safety net. And we rely so much on it because if you think about it, you can only control what you know. Mm-hmm. And what you know is everything up, like what you know for certain, right? Mm-hmm. And then obviously with your lens on how things have been in the past, like your own unique perspective of that. But you can only control what you know, and you only know everything up into this present moment. This present moment, this present moment. Everything else hasn't happened yet.
Yep.
So we put this feeling that we could only attribute to the past into the future.
Yep.
Thinking we can do the same thing. Oh, I know for certain that this is going to happen. And then when we had that expectation moving forward, what happens is when something that you did not prepare for, because you put the past into the future, or your feelings on it, then you're like blown away.
Yes.
And totally rattled.
Yes. Yeah. So, like when you were saying that stuff, I was thinking, yeah, because I have this sense of responsibility. I think it was in one of the things that you read off. I have this sense of like, I have to be responsible. And so, and I don't know if this is like a learned behavior from my childhood. I was, one of my childhood friends, her mom would always say that, her name's Haley, my childhood best friend. Her mom would always tell us, I could have put the two of you in an apartment and you would have paid the bills and been responsible. And like, she was like, at like 10, you guys could have run the show at 10 years old. And so probably was a little bit learned behavior. Haley was a lot more responsible than me. So I think
she
I
taught
learned.
You her ways.
Yes, she taught me her ways. But I think it's like this responsibility. And then to add on to that, I've always been super independent. My parents are like, I just never had to worry about you. I just knew you'd take care of yourself. And then so you get this like positive thing, like, yeah, be responsible,
be independent,
and nobody ever, you're just the kid that like, we just don't have to worry about you. And so it's like one of those, you get this like, yeah, this is a good way to be. And the reality is like you start controlling everything. And then when you lose control, it's like the bottom comes out and you're just like, now I don't know what to do. And you still don't trust anybody. You know, you still are trying to blame yourself of what went wrong. Where did I mess that up? That, you know, and it's a good thing, I think, to like take a look at a situation and try to evaluate like what happened. But there's a lot of like guilt that comes along with that.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. I think that's, if you're new to this show, everything is Enneagram based. So I do coaching that is based off of a personality test called the Enneagram. And you can take the test. We'll link it in the episode, in the show notes. But everything stems from, the Enneagram is great. It's a personality test that's rooted in motivators. So when you think why, you might not even think that you're a control freak.
Yeah.
Even looking at these behaviors, you're like, oh no, that's still not me. Or only sometimes, or only at work, right? I get this one all the time. I'm a different person at work. Oh. No, you're not, honey. It's just this different environments, but you're the same person, right?
I love that.
I know, it's so funny. People will even say, oh, well, I'm this type at work, and then I'm this type at home.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sure. And I just let them... you want to control that perspective? Sure. And then a couple months into coaching, they're always like, so I'm actually just this across the board. I'm like, oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
But there's different motivators for why people cannot give up control, right? So it's a number system, 1 through 9. So if you're type 1, it's, I can't alleviate control because what if somebody else messes this up and it's not correct? Right?
Yeah.
If it's not perfect.
Yeah.
2, I can't alleviate control because I want to be responsible for how people view me and basically how people love me. So let me try and manipulate situations without a malicious intent, but to make sure I get that love.
Yes.
Right? 3s, Lacey's a 3, which, they're the achievers. You want to get it done, and efficiency is so important to you. So I want to get this done. I want to check it off the list, and I want this to be the best.
Yep.
So let me do it. And if you're type 4, it's I want to control how people view me because I want to look a certain way, and I don't want to be like anybody else.
Yep.
And then 5s, I think 5s probably have an issue with alleviating control just because, again, that personal security.
Yeah.
Right. Same things with a 6. It comes a lot into just security and safety.
Yeah.
7s, we just like to, I'm a 7, we like to fix things in advance because I don't like confrontation. And if I can control this and do it my way, then I can prevent a future problem, again, that does not exist.
Yep.
And then 8s, the challenger, their core fear and their core desire is all around control.
Yep.
They want to be in control. That is literally who they are. I have bigger self-worth if I am in control.
Yeah.
And then 9s don't want anything in the environment to be disrupted. So let me control kind of other people in this little puppet game so nobody gets upset with anybody else. Yeah. Oh. So it's like these different motivators. And that's why understanding the Enneagram is so helpful in understand. Like it just gives you a little, ooh, yeah, that is right. And then these behaviors start to make a little bit more sense.
Yeah. Well, and also like, so I'm a 3 and I'm you said an achiever. So like, notice what I said was I was told I was responsible. I was told I was independent. And to me, that was like a compliment that I wanted to live up to.
Yeah.
So it's like, even that kind of feeds into why I like to be in control is because I know she'll take care of it. I know she's, I don't have to worry about her. But inside, I'm worrying about all the things and so overwhelmed by it. And I even noticed it, like I catch myself. So I will say I'm working on it. This is definitely something I'm working on because I have a tendency as an independent woman to like not let people help me. And
well, and you're an independent business owner.
yes,
You know?
yes. And so I am seeing things for what they are. Like, for example, in my business, I just hired someone to help me with some of our website stuff. Like, we just need to like tweak a lot of things. And what I saw was that, excuse me, that the parts that I didn't have a hand in kind of went south. I mean, we hired some people, we wasted some money, and that's not anybody's fault because we didn't know better.
Right.
I had nothing to do with some of those situations. And so there was a moment where I had this whole like, see, if I'm not in it, then it just doesn't work and it goes wrong and it doesn't get managed. And then I had that moment of, oh my gosh, but see, I also relinquished control and I could have been in that spot too, and it would have gone the exact same way, even if I wasn't in control.
Right, because you only know what you know at the best. You made the best decision at the time that you knew it, and then it's like it's kind of funny because you take this idea of control. It's like, had I done this, it would have been this way. But that's taking present self with the information that you knew now, applying it to the past, where really it's like
I didn't know this information.
Like time traveling here, it just doesn't work. You have to stay in the moment and.
Oh, I love that. I love that I'm taking what I know now and acting like I could have applied that to the past. Oh my gosh, I love that.
It's
Boom.
Like,
Mic drop.
Did I know that, right? Episode's over.
Yeah.
Short episode today, mini episode. But, you know, it's so spot on though because we think, you know, I think the one thing that spoke to me was not having compassion for people who make mistakes, which is, I know it's like inherently.
That sounds awful.
It sounds, especially as a coach.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know. But it's hard to do. I don't like mistakes. You know, I'm a 7, but that means I'm also a stressed out 1.
Yeah.
And I really don't like mistakes because I become very overly critical of myself and others and everybody involved. And then I essentially kind of even catastrophize it.
Yeah.
I think that's catastrophize.
I think you said it right. Yeah.
Right? I'm like, where it's like, oh my gosh, now I'm going to have to deal with all of this confrontation. And it stems from not wanting to confront and having awkward situations. So like, let me just try and plan for all these things again. Now I'm future-based that haven't happened yet.
So you see somebody make a mistake and your automatic reaction is, great, they're going to make a lot of mistakes and then I'm going to have to sit them down and tell them, look, you're going to have to confront it.
So it's a lot of fear. So which is also interesting because Enneagrams 5, 6, and 7 are all rooted in our core emotion, underlying emotion is fear. So I'm future-based, right? Of this could potentially happen. What can I do to fix it? Which is a great skill to have in life, but dialing it back, right? Just like appropriately. And then, you know, for 2s, 3s, and 4s, that underlying feeling is shame and guilt. So that's why you're going to the past and being like, if I had done this better,
and then like, what, Lacey, what were you thinking? Why didn't you just have a hand in that? You know that could have been different.
And you're harping on yourself.
Yeah, and blaming myself over it. And who did you say does that? Is it 1s, 2s, and 3s?
2s, 3s, and 4s.
2s, 3s, and 4s.
That's the heart triad of the Enneagram.
Gotcha.
And then the 8s, 9s, and 1s, they have their core underlying emotion that they have easy access to. Basically, if something happens and shit hits the fan, that'll be like your fight or fight response. Like, oh, something that just pops up it's anger. So that's where that's where it's either outward or inward, right? Some people yell and other people are overly self-critical and then can become passive aggressive if things, you know, aren't going their way. But
so for like showing compassion to people who make mistakes, here's what happens for me. And I think this is just this may be part of just me being a little bit of a people pleaser too. But my first thought is, okay, they're human. They just made a mistake. And then my second thought is, but I wouldn't have made that mistake. And that's where I'm very guilty with that because
Yeah.
I think all the time, and I think this happens a lot, and I think you and I have talked about this many times, like when it rains, it pours. It's like this person that you've hired makes a mistake, and this person you've hired makes a mistake, and then all these people are making mistakes. And then what I do is I think, man, I would have never had most of the jobs I've had if I made as many mistakes as everybody else does out there. Mm-hmm. And so then I like do this like, yeah, I don't screw up, right, even though I do.
And then when you do mess up, it's like even worse.
Yes.
Ugh. So
yes.
I heard this quote from someone who's actually going to be coming on the show in the next couple of months. And I went to this seminar and she was saying, essentially, what pisses you off in other people are most likely your natural strengths or things that you are really good at.
Yes.
So it's when I start thinking about mistakes that I do not like in other people that really irritate me. And this has been a game changer. When I go in and I coach teams, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, because you think everyone sees things the way you think it, and then obviously they don't. People have different lenses and different perspectives. But we think the playing field is even, right? I know this, so they should know this, right?
Right.
But it's not an even playing field because this is my strength,
Yeah.
right? So I'm already at the advantage, and then that might be their area of opportunity, as we call it in the coaching world.
Yeah.
So now the gap is really big, right?
Yeah.
So it's not even like, apples to apples. It's like oranges to like blueberries or something.
Right.
Totally different. And we have all these expectations that we place on ourselves. We put those and we put them on other people.
Yeah.
And then we say, oh, you're not as good as me. So, and that can resonate in all of these behaviors, right? Let me just do it myself or rage, right? Which is a very human emotion.
I was like, when we were talking about the driving thing, I was like, and this is why I have road rage.
Yeah.
And because I get so upset. And I think also, too, in my brain or just in general, I feel like I'm giving 100% to almost everything I do. Mm-hmm. My business, my workouts, my relationship, my family. And so when I'm doing the best that I can always, and I see other people who are not concerned with doing the best that they can always, I get frustrated or want to control.
Yeah.
And so it's like one of those things for me where I'm like, I just feel like I'm doing the best. Like I am putting in 110% always. There's never a moment where I'm like, meh,
Yeah. Well, and here's the funny thing is, and this is another thing I like about the Enneagram, and when I do group coaching together, I'm just thinking about a couple teams where if I think if, we're different and my motivator is I don't like confrontation and yours is like, I want to get this done, check mark, check mark, check mark.
Yes.
So if you're really good at blowing through things to get all the check marks done for the day, and I'm like, wait a minute, let's back this up. I don't want to make a mistake because I don't want to have a confrontation later. I'm going to control it by like measuring twice and cutting once.
Yeah.
More like measuring 47 times and cutting once.
Yeah.
Actually, never even cutting because I'm too scared to. But and then you see that as you're not getting things done quickly enough.
Yeah.
And so let me just
hang the damn picture. That's
right. Hey, yeah. Right. It
doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be hung.
But here you are saying, no, I want to control this moving forward. And I'm like, I want to control this being like 100% right. Because while your strength might be, no, we'll fix it if we get there. And, mitigating that challenge, I'm like crippled by it.
Right.
And so if you think that your strengths, like your strengths are not everybody else's strengths, but also think, what are your weaknesses?
Right.
So how can somebody help you with this? And this comes into delegating and something called the genius zone.
I was getting ready to say, I knew you were going to say staying in your zone of genius.
Yeah, like what are you really good at? What lights you up? What you're passionate about? What can you be naturally efficient with because you like doing it?
Yeah.
And that is going to be, if you can stay in your zone of genius more, that actually is more fulfilling than having control over everything that you don't like doing.
Right.
You know? Like if
For
I could have a
sure.
personal driver,
Oh my God,
You know,
I love when people drive me. Even though I say, like, if I have to be in control of the car, but there are certain people I'm like, yeah, you get to drive.
I dropped you off for a date once,
Yeah.
and we were going to pretend that I was the Uber, and you were going to sit in the back. That's the kind of driver I want, though,
That's
you
what
know?
I'm talking black car.
Yeah,
Like,
XL,
yeah.
you know? But I actually think about that. I lived in New York for a summer when I auditioned for SoulCycle and went to train there. I was so happy. So happy.
Not having to drive.
Not driving. It was amazing. I was like so at peace.
Okay, see, on the flip side, I have more anxiety when I don't have my car to be in control to leave when I want or than anything.
Yeah.
So, and it's not necessarily like, you know, like I rode here with you today. It's not like that. The thought process was, well, I guess I could just like stop on my way home and do this. And then I was like, it's fine. But whenever it's like, you know, if we go out for drinks or whatever, and I leave my car parked somewhere, and the next morning I don't have it, it is like a total spiral in my head.
Get me out.
Yeah. Even though all I have to do is get an Uber to my car, it is like suddenly I'm out of control and I can't
relying
leave.
on others, right?
Relying
Relying on Uber to
others,
come get me.
yeah.
Like, when can I get my car?
Yeah, for sure.
And the
So-
unknown of that.
So, like, for me lately, what I've been doing is just trying to, like, slow down situations and think, like, okay, for example, we were cooking dinner. My boyfriend and I were cooking dinner. And I was like, why is he putting the corn on the grill in that direction? And I know this is so silly, but like these are the things I'm having to do.
I'm gonna
to
like hashtag marriage tips, you know, for this episode. Like,
I know. But I'm like, I literally was like, wow, you're just trying to control even how he puts the food on the grill. And it
Stop
turned out
controlling the corn.
turns out he was putting on a better way than what I do.
Yeah.
And so, and I think some of this is just like being my father's daughter is like, I'm always right, or the way that I do things is the right way.
Best. Yeah.
Yes. And so to be like, oh my gosh, wait, he's actually putting it in the like grids where they don't roll. And I was like, wow, his way's better. And I'm so glad this conversation happened in my head and not out loud to him, because he also, like me, is a control freak. And, you know, like that's where we butt heads, is like, who's right in this situation? And this is just, it's like our number one conversation.
Yeah.
And so I'm like catching myself.
Who's
like,
right? Everybody's right.
Slowing down and thinking situations through. But like, what practices could I do to like relinquish some of the
I think
control
awareness
feelings?
is the first step, right? Of being open. So one, you know, definitely staying in the present moment versus time traveling to either the past or the future. This could have been done a better way.
Yes.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Or, oh my gosh, all these things that could potentially happen and don't exist yet. So stay in the moment, because you're going to feel most like yourself, like your true essence, right? It's all about kicking the ego.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know nobody likes that word. I don't like that word either. But my ego doesn't like the word ego. It's like, oh, you know, my essence is like, woohoo, finally, yay. But you know, we're made of our essence, who you truly are, and then your ego basically comes in from the time we're very, very young and tries to, quote unquote, protect you from the outside world, to keep you safe, keep you happy and, quote unquote, happy, right? With the knowns, because what is known is safe. So
my ego's the control freak here. It's not even my fault.
If that makes you feel better,
thank you.
If that makes you feel better, we're gonna have another episode on this. But yeah, it's your ego. So the good news is you do have complete control of your ego, right?
Yes.
One thing that I think for this purpose, let's go back to the corn, right?
Okay.
Honestly, corn is so good. You just don't want to mess that
You
up.
put Slap Your Mama on it, and it was like the best corn I've ever had in my life.
See?
So like it was a full circle thing, and I was
You're
like,
this is actually better. So being open, right? when you are in control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. And we are definitely going to make this a 2-part series. We're going to go over one solution here of applicable things that you can change and implement into your life if you change your perspective. And then I definitely want to continue this into a second episode. So tune in next week to where this is actually probably resonating in your life, because it's not just work, it's not just relationships, and we're going to go over some even more solutions. We're going to deep dive into how you can alleviate control in your life so you stop ruining your life. So if you would just go in with this perspective change of, I am open to something being even better than what I know.
Okay. Yes, I love that.
And everybody has a different lens. Everybody has a different experience. Right. And allowing, I think that comes with allowing, right? We're going to go into the art of allowing in the next episode. But allowing somebody to be better than you at something and thinking and knowing, believing, trusting that you're on the same team.
Yes. Yes.
Like
that's funny you say that.
Having this mentality, let's just take road rage. And this is something that I have to work on because I'm overcoming.
From a mild case.
I'm overcoming slowly the road rage. Yes, don't Marco Polo me while I drive. But if you stop assuming. It's an assumption. Stop assuming that everybody is against you.
Yes.
And that everybody is on the same, everybody's on the same team, right? Nobody drove out of their driveway down the street onto the highway and said, I would love to get into an accident today, and I can't wait to cut 5 people off and be a total a-hole today.
Except for those guys with the lifted trucks. They do. But
Texas. That's just Texas. I saw this really funny meme. It was terrible. I don't even know if I should say it.
Maybe not.
I know. It was terrible. It was like when a truck goes by, like a really crazy expensive car, and they're like doing all the loud stuff and all the things. They're like, yeah, we see you, bro. Sorry, your dad didn't.
Oh,
I know. I was like, ooh, but I feel that
I thought you were gonna say something else.
Oh yeah, no. I think we all know that.
Yeah.
And it is true. Can confirm.
Yes.
But yeah, it's if you assume, stop thinking that everybody's against you. Nobody is out to get you.
Expect good things.
Expect good things, right? And also expect good things that you're going to get what you want or something even better.
Yeah.
You have to allow something better to happen that you haven't thought of yet. Because once again, stay in the present. You are projecting your present self into the future, and it does not belong there.
Right.
And so you have no idea all this opportunity. When you are so in control, you cut yourself off to so much opportunity because, oh, no, this is the best way to do it. Let's go back to the past. Yes, this could have been the best way to do it at this time, but then there's something called evolution and adaptability. It's like, I'm not using my iPhone 3 anymore.
Right.
I'm not using the house phone with the dial things,
with
right?
a really long cord.
Yeah. It's like you have to, that was the best thing at the time. I'm not going to sing, but to quote Taylor Swift, she does say that.
Yeah.
Seemed like the best thing at the time.
Right.
And allowing that to be true.
Right.
Just because something better comes up now does not mean you were wrong in the past.
Right. True. Oh my gosh. I love that because I think I have this tendency to go back and I've worked on this saying I was just doing the best that I could at the time, with the knowledge that I had at the time, and forgiving, I have a hard time forgiving myself. And I think a lot of people do. And a lot of my friends do, I think that if you carry some sort of guilt, it's because of something in the past or something, it's not doing what I should have done. And then also kind of assuming that everybody else is just doing the best that they can. Now, it doesn't always work out, but I think my attitude is I'm always doing the best that I can and nobody else is.
Right.
When we're all just doing the best that we can.
Right. And sometimes people's skills are not as good as yours, or the expectation was maybe higher than the delivery. And we're going to go into that next episode too. But let's talk about that. It's the forgiveness, right? It's the grace. It's this allowing the past to be the past. And this fake duality, right? This fake sense of control, but also this fake duality of if I'm right, then you're wrong.
Right.
This is the best way. That's not the best way.
Right.
Right. So we're going to wrap this up for today. And
by so fast.
But go into part 2. We're going to go over where all this control is actually going to be. Where is it resonating in your life that you actually, it's sneaky, right? It's not just work. It's not just your relationship. It's sneaky. So we're going to go over all of those and then go over a lot more applicable ways to alleviate control and actually allow your best life to happen.
I love it. I love it.
So we're going to be tagging Sugar Mama Shimmer. People are going to be finding you.
Yes.
We'll tag in the show notes for sure. But
yeah, we got a new website.
New website, new products.
New products. We got some new stuff. We got some cocktail napkins.
Just in time for Pride.
Stars
unicorn dust.
Oh, unicorn dust. New colors.
Yeah, new colors.
So you can find us at sugarmamashimmer.com. That's MAMA. Or on Instagram, Facebook. We're on the talk, but I don't know what happened. The talk's been grounding me because every time I try to post a video, it just goes to space. So, but it's at Sugar Mama Shimmer.
I don't know.
The talk. But I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
Scrolling, even though if they won't let me post.
I mean, there's some good stuff on there. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I've cut myself off from TikTok, but that's just my own personal, that's a whole other podcast episode. But, tune in next week for part 2. And as always, if we could leave you with just one thing, it would be this.
Expect good things always.
And they will happen.
They will.
We promise.